So this is the first problem we have. I hope this screen is visible to you. Otherwise, please do let me know. So we are just starting with the first one. Okay. So what you have here is a well shuffled deck of 52 cards, and two cards are drawn successively. Okay, with replacement. And what you need to do is to find out this particular probability. Now, as we normally see this one, just look at these important words with replacement. This is something you have been provided with, and also the number of aces. This is the random variable, and you're supposed to find out this particular value. I hope this is clear to you. Just try this one out. This is a very simple sum, and what I have observed in the last couple of years, it's not very difficult. The sums are not very difficult, and certain concepts are pretty repetitive. So I hope at the end of this session, you know what are the theories and concepts you need to, kind of brush up. Okay, just use the chat box as you always do, and let's communicate and do some good sums and just come out with great, theoretical clarity, etc. Okay. So as I see some new people joining in, this is the first problem that we are starting with. Pretty easy, just normal things you use for finding out certain probabilities. Just try this one out and let me know the answers, okay? Okay, Ritaban says it's option 4. All right. Let's see a couple of more answers and then we'll just reveal the solution, at least a part of the solution. Okay, as you keep on calculating, I think I'll just show you a part of the solution so that even if you're stuck or doing the calculations, you know you're on the right track or at least know how to proceed. And of course, use the chat option to give me your answers as you keep on getting the calculations right, okay? So I see a couple of answers saying option 4. So, so I'm just switching on to the solution slide. Even if you don't know what options are there, you can just simply write down the answer that you have got instead of writing down that option, okay? It's pretty simple. This is the random variable we have considered. So this is something that we are supposed to find out. Now this is what you have, okay? So two cards are drawn consecutively. So the first one is ace, the second one is something else, and here the first one is something else and the second one is an ace, okay? And for this one, both of them are aces. Now just notice one thing, this particular 4 and 52, these two things are there because the replacement thing is just going to happen here. Normally what we do is, suppose you just pick out one card, for the next one there are 51 options, and of course there are three aces if the first card was an ace. So that is the basic thing that you need to take care of while calculating this one. I think rest is pretty simple, okay? I hope you're okay with this one. So people who have said that it's option 4, it's absolutely correct. So I hope this is okay with you. Otherwise, if you don't understand, um, okay, Ritavan, do you have a question? Okay. Basically, he can't join. Okay. Does he have the invitation to this one? Okay. Does he have the invitation but still can't join? Okay. Okay. Just a moment. I think. Okay. Just one moment. Okay. Okay, just one moment. So I hope this is clear with all of you. Okay, so the correct option is 4, and I hope this process is clear. Just make sure you remember that this is done without replacement. So as I quickly go through the second question, you people keep on solving the second question, and I'll just take care of the part where people can't join. So this is the second question. So as I already see a couple of answers saying it's option 4. All right, let's just see what we can do. First of all, let me tell you, as we are doing these questions and sums, we will also see how we can incorporate the theories and concepts or the theorems, all these things that we have learned here. So let's just see the answer. I hope all of you, who have given the answer, actually, it's correct. And obviously, we are going to use the total probability theorem here. So let's just see the solution here. Okay. So this is what we have taken. G represents the green ball. Okay, that's something we have drawn. And R represents that the drawn ball is red. All right. So what we are going to do is we are going to find out the probability that the second ball is red. Now this is the total probability theorem we have used. There are two possible cases. Okay, as you know, if the first ball that's drawn is green, then we are going to replace that one by a red ball and vice versa. Okay, so we have two probable cases. So this is the thing that we have taken here from total probability theorem. So if the second ball is green, which we are supposed to find out, there can be two possible prior activities. Okay, the first one, that this and this one. Okay, I hope you understand. And as you keep on calculating the rest of the things, you understand that initially we had total 5 red balls and obviously 2 green balls. So the total number of balls are 7. And as we just pick out one green ball, then obviously we are going to add another red ball, which makes its count to 6. Again, if you just pick out a red ball, you replace it with a green ball, etc. So I think the rest of the calculation is pretty simple. So as correctly pointed out by you people, this is actually option 4. So we have used the total probability theorem here. If you have any doubts in this one, you just let me know, okay? Otherwise, I think we can proceed. If you have understood this one, just write yes. Otherwise, for in case of any doubts, please let me know. All right. So is this okay with all of you? So just write yes so that I know I can go to the next. Yeah, but still, if you have any doubts, let me know. We have made two cases here because the first one, the first drawn ball, will also contribute to the changes in the total number of balls. Okay. Chalo, the correct option was 4. All right. So the next one is also pretty easy. Just keep your, calculations right, and I think you can get the answers. Just try this one out. The questions that you have from probability is not very difficult. You just need to do your calculations right. Okay. Whenever you are approaching a sum which has a lot of text going on, make sure you pick up some important things from that, what you're supposed to find out, what are the possible informations that you have been provided with, etc. Okay, then you can work your way towards the answer. I hope this is okay with you. Just try and calculate this one and let me know the answers. Okay, I think I have already got one answer saying it's option 3. Okay. I hope other people are trying it out too. So let me know your answers once you're done. Okay. So I've got a couple of answers saying it's 3. All right. So I want other people to just keep on calculating okay. So all the answers are saying it's option 3. Okay, great. All right. Let's just see a part of the solution so that you can proceed and just keep on calculating and give me the answers. Okay. So this is the first thing. An unbiased coin is tossed. Obviously, the probable outcomes are head or tail, and these are the probabilities that you will see here. Okay, all right. So, along with that, you have a pair of dice, unbiased dice shown. So, what are the things you have here? Let's see. First of all, what you're supposed to find out is okay, the sum 7 or 8. Now you have to find out how you can get the sum as 7. So you can obviously see which will give you 7 and also see which will give you a possible sum of 8. Okay, so you have to find out find out what will be the possible options that you will have for 7. Like for 7, you have 1, 6, 2, 5, 4, 3, and also the reverse pairs. So obviously, you will have 6 pairs there. And whenever you're considering this particular sum as 8, what are the probable pairs you might have? 2, 6, 3, 5, 4, 4, and obviously they're reverse. And as I hope you understand that 4, 4 is same as, whenever you are reversing is this one. So it's all the same. So these are the probable options that you will have. So finally, now this is something that's going to happen. What happens is, if you are just choosing a card from the cards with numbers 1 to 9, what is the probability that you're choosing this 7 or 8? So what are the probable options? The favorable options are 7 or 8. So obviously it's going to be 2 by 9. So whenever you are calculating the final probability, it's going to be this one. Okay, so I hope this is okay with all of you. Otherwise, please let me know. So this is the one where we having the head as the outcome of the toss, and this is when you get the sum as 7 or 8. Along with, there is another case. This is when you get a tail and probably a 7 or a 8 numbered card. Okay, so the entire answer is going to be 19 by 72, as correctly pointed out by you people. It's option 3. Okay, all right, let's just move on. Let's just see the question number 4. Now, this is one type of question which is literally there everywhere. So just try this one out. This is a very simple application of Bernoulli's trial, etc., and the binomial theorem thing that you have normally done. And you have quite a few number of times when this kind of questions are appearing. So I hope just you try this one out. You'll have at least 3 to 4 similar types of questions. So if I understand that you people are doing it correctly and absolutely confident about these kind of sums, we can go ahead and skip these kind of things. Okay, because this is not very difficult. A very simple application of Bernoulli's theorem, binomial theorem, or Bernoulli's trial of success and failure, etc. Just give this one a try and let me know the answer. Okay, you have to find out the least number of kind of shooting that you have to find out. Okay, for getting the probability of hitting the target at least once to be greater than 5 by 6. So basically, just try and find out the important points. Okay. So this is the probability that the shooter hits the target, and also this is the probability that you're aiming for. Okay. So I've already got a couple of answers saying it's 5, which is actually option 3. Okay. So these are the types of sums which are pretty easy, just uses the basics of Bernoulli's trial. You just need to kind of form this sum properly. Otherwise, it's pretty easy. So I'm getting a lot of answers, actually correct answers. So I think I'll just reveal a part of the solution so that you people can proceed further. And as you keep on getting the answers, let me know. Okay. All right. Let's just assume that the number of the number of shots, the independent shots that we are supposed to fire is n, at least n number of shots, so that the probability of there's one target at least hit is 5 by 6. It's at least 5 by 6. So we just kind of rephrase the experiment as this as the success, okay, and this one as the failure. All right. So as you're seeing that this is at least one success. So this is nothing but 1 minus, you don't have any success at all. So in all the trials, this is the probability that you will have. Okay. So in the first trial, this is going to fail. So obviously the probability is 2 by 3. In the next one, similarly, in all the possible n trials, you will see that this is going to happen. Okay. So this is one equation. Just if you don't get this one, if you don't understand this, if you have any problem with this sum, please let me know, because this is one type which is literally there everywhere. So if you understand this properly, probably we can skip these kind of sums and save some times. Okay. Okay, Yash, I think I'm gonna repeat. I'll just show you the rest of the answer, and then we are going to repeat. Okay. So I think I'll just explain it again. So what happens is, the probability of hitting a target by a shooter at any shot is 1 by 3. Okay. As you see, there are like independent shots happening. So we can kind of form a Bernoulli's trial. Okay. For Bernoulli's trial, what you need is the probability of success, and 1 minus that will be the probability of failure. Now, what we are doing is just kind of reframing the entire thing from that point of view. We are calling success as a shooter hits the target. Okay. So the probability of success will be nothing but 1/3, and the probability of failure will be 2/3. Now it says that how many, at least the number of shots that you need to take, so that the probability of hitting the target at least once is greater than 5 by 6. So probability of hitting the target at least once is nothing but 1 minus probability of hitting it like no time, no, like never it's going to hit the target. In all the n possible options, this is not going to be there. So for the first failure, the probability is 2 by 3. For the second failure, the probability is 2 by 3. So this is going to go up to all the possible n times. Okay. So this is going to give you 2 by 3 whole to the power n. So 1 minus that will give you the probability that the target is hit at least once. So that is going to be greater than 5 by 6. And we just try with the integral values of n, which is the total number of trials in Bernoulli's, trial, or any binomial theorem that you are considering. And you will see that for 5, which is the least value for which this is going to occur. Okay. I hope this is okay with you. If you have understood this one, just write yes, so that I just we can okay. So this is one type which is literally there for so many sums. So if you don't understand this, please let me know. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's just move on. So this is sum number 5. Just try this one out. So there's a set of the first 11 integers. You're supposed to pick out 2 integers. Okay. What is given? So you're supposed to find out the conditional probability. So make sure you remember how you frame the question. Given, this is something which is given. Sum is even. So you have to find out the probability that both the numbers are even. Okay. This is something that has already happened. This is something that has already happened. Now find out the conditional probability for this one. So, as you understand the question, you will obviously see that there are 11 possible integers from which you are taking two integers. There are six odd integers and five even integers. So, try and understand how you can get the even sum, etc. So, Ritaban says it's option 4, then okay. Then you're saying it's option 3. Great. Let me see some more answer. So since we are taking from a set, in general, if it's not mentioned, you should assume that repetition is not allowed unless otherwise it's mentioned. We normally, kind of take it for granted that repetition is not allowed. Okay, because in case it's allowed, it's normally mentioned. Srijan also says it's 3. Okay. Let me see some more answers so that we can move on to the solution, or at least a part of the solution. What you need to understand is whenever you are getting a probable sum, even sum, what are the possible options for the two integers that we have chosen? Okay. Ishika also says it's option 3. Great. Okay. So as you guys keep on calculating, please let me know your answers. Even if you don't know which was the option for that particular answer, you can simply write down the answer. Okay. Let's just see this one. All right. This is something what we are supposed to find out. When the sum is even. Now, this is very, very important because this is a given scenario with respect to which we are supposed to find out the probability that both the numbers are even. Whenever you are getting two integers and their sum is coming out to be even, so what are the possible options? Both of them are odd or both of them are even. Now, if you look at the set from 1 to 12, 1 to 11, okay, there are six odd numbers and five even numbers. So I have taken six odd numbers in these many ways, and this is for the even number. Okay. So obviously, this is a basic thing, and this is nothing but when both of them are even. All right. So the conditional probability will be simply this one. I hope you understand. Then just some simple calculations and you get the answer as option 3. Okay. Let's just take a minute and understand what has happened here. We have used a very basic property of addition and odd even integers. So if the sum is even, you have two probable options. Either both the integers were odd or both of them were even. Okay. Now, given this particular scenario, we have to find out what is the probability that this case actually contributed to the event. So this is what we have found out. I hope this is okay with all of you. Some simple calculations, and the answer is coming out to be 2 by 5. If you have any doubts, please let me know. Okay. I think I'll move on to the next sum then. Now this is a good sum. Just try and do this one. Just give you a hint. Sometimes you consider the event, which is simply the complement of the event that we are looking out for. So if you consider the sum to be 203, try and look at the complementary event. Okay. In that kind of from that perspective. So these are the possible options. A subset is formed. So this is what you are supposed to find out. Just give it a try. If there's any problem, then we'll talk about the solution. Okay, Mahek says it's option one. Okay, let's just see some other answers. Mahek, can you let us know what logic you have used so that I understand the procedure or something like that? Okay, Srijan says it's option two, but all of them have questions actually. Okay. So I think I'm just give you people a clue, and as you get, keep on getting the answers, let me know in the comments box. Okay. So see, this is the basic most thing that we all know. If a set is having 20 elements, the number of subsets that it will have is nothing but 2 to the power 20. Okay. So this will actually form the denominator of the probability that we are looking forward to. Now we have to find out the subsets. Okay. And when the basic, the elements are added, the final answer is going to be 203 so that it's nice. Now, if you just look at the original numbers we have here, it's ranging from 1 to 20. Okay. So what is the sum of the first n natural numbers, that is n into n plus 1 by 2. So this is going to be 210. So this is the maximum sum that you can achieve. Now for 203, what needs to happen is you have to just eliminate this 7. Okay, the sum 7 is something that you have to eliminate. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. Okay, sometimes what we do is it's very difficult to reach 210. I don't know what are the possible combinations that we are going to get for 203. So just take it from the reverse side. Okay, just see that it's same as excluding numbers which can actually add up to 7. So let's just see what are the possible subsets. The possible subsets are these. So this is the singleton set with 2 elements and 3 elements. So this is what we are going to use. Okay. All right. So as you can see that there are only 5 sets which are going to be having the sum as 203. So we have used a reverse technique here. So the maximum sum that you can extract out of these numbers is 210. To get the sum 203, of course you'll have to eliminate certain numbers which will add up to 7. So these are the possible options. So I hope you understand this is the required probability. Okay, so the correct option is 2. If you still have any doubts, please let me know in the comment box. So I think we'll just proceed to the next sum. But still, if you have any doubts, I can clarify this one. Okay. Since it's very difficult to find out all the possible integers that will add up to 203, what we are going to do is, okay, Vansh, I think I'm going to repeat this one. So this is the first thing which is very basic. You have 20 elements and the probable number of subsets is 2 to the power 20. Okay, I think some of you are having trouble with this one. So I'll just quickly repeat this. Okay. So what you have is there's a set S having the first 20 natural numbers. So obviously the number of elements in S is 20. So the number of possible subsets of S is going to be 2 to the power 20. As you see, this is going to form the denominator of our required probability. This is the probable number of total number of cases. Now you have to find out the favorable number of cases. Now, as you form the subsets, what you are going to do is check whether all the elements add up to 203. Then the set will be called nice. Now, as you see this 1 to 20, what is the sum of first n natural numbers? N into n plus 1 divided by 2. So if I take the entire set, which is also a subset of S, this is going to be the sum. Okay. Now, if you want to take elements, okay, who will add up to 203, you have to kind of eliminate the elements who are adding up to 7. So suppose you take this one. So these are the possible options that you will have. Now, suppose I take all the possible numbers from 1 to 20, barring 7. So, what will be the sum? This 210 minus 7, which is 203. So, that is one option for me. Okay. So, suppose I take another set, all the possible numbers from 1 to 20, but I'm just not taking this 1 or 6. Still, it will add up to 203. Or suppose I'm taking another set from 1 to 20, but I'm not adding this 1 or 2 or 4. So instead of just finding out the integers abruptly which are adding up to 203, what we are going to do is just get rid of the integers from the subset which are adding up to 7. So we can find these are the possible options which we are going to see for a sum 7. So you have 5 sets which are adding up to 203. So this is not the set that is adding up to 203. Just remove this one from 1 to 20. The consequently the set you get will actually add up to 203. So I hope this is okay with all of you. So people who are having problem understanding this one, if you have understood this, please let me know. Once also if you have understood this one, please let me know so that we can proceed. Okay. So this is a reverse technique that we have used because it's very difficult to find out the possible numbers which will add up to 203. So this is what we have used here. I hope this is okay with all of you. So I think we'll move on. So this is the seventh question that you have. So it's a random experiment. It's gonna end. It's gonna end after you get two fours in succession. Just try this one out and let me know. Okay, everyone, just try this one out. Okay. So it's going to end in the fifth row. So this is very important. So whatever you have in the first three throws, it doesn't really matter. These two are going to be fours so that the experiment is going to end after five possible trials. Okay. Just try this one out and let me know. Okay, I already have an answer from Mahek. Okay. Let's just see a couple of more answers so that. Okay. Ishika also says it's four. Srijan says it's four. Great. Okay, I think I'm getting this option 4 as a probable answer. Like all of you have said option 4 so far. So whenever you approach these kind of sums, okay, so you just need to make cases where this is going to happen. Okay, what are the possible cases here? Let's just see the possible cases here. So it's very, very important for probability that you need to make separate cases whenever it's required. So I think this is something what we are going to do. Okay, the star is any number except for n. As I told you people that this is definitely going to happen. This is what we are aiming for. Okay, so suppose the first, this is one very obvious option. This is one very obvious option that you will have. So you have totally different numbers in the first three throws, so obviously you cannot have two fours in succession. So this is one very obvious thing. And similarly you have two more options. Suppose you get 4 in the first throw. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to get something here which is other than, this is not 0, which is something other than 4, and again something other than 4. Okay, and along with that you have another possibility that this is 4, so that you don't have two fours in succession, because that will actually end the experiment. Okay, you are going to end the experiment in the fifth throw. So the fourth and the fifth throw, they have to be fours. Okay, so this is one very simple option. Along with that, don't forget about these two. I hope this is okay. The rest is pretty simple, because as you know, whenever you're getting this 4, the probability is 1 by 6. Otherwise, whenever you're seeing the star, this is going to be 5 by 6. So we just go on and calculate the probabilities individually and just add them up. If this is okay with you, as you people pointed it out, it's option 4. It's absolutely correct. So if you have any doubts regarding this one, please let me know. And if you have understood this, just write yes so that I can proceed. But again, if you have any doubts, just feel free to ask questions. Okay, use the chat box and let me know if you want me to repeat this one. I think wait for a minute and then we'll just move on. Okay, so let's just see the next question then. Now, this is one type which is literally in quite a few questions that I've seen. As I was telling you, the least number of shots that a man needs to make before the targets hit at least once is greater than 5 by 6. The probability is greater than 5 by 6. That was one type, that Bernoulli trial, the binomial curing thing. That is one of the types that's like majorly covered in all the questions. And this is another type where you are supposed to find out the expectation. For expectation, what you need to do is, this is the value of the random variable into the probability. You want to take the summation. Okay, so all the possible values of the random numbers along with their probabilities, just take the you just take the product and add them up. I hope this is okay with all of you. Just try this one and let me know. Again, this is more of like a success and failure kind of a thing, so you know how to frame the uh, question. Okay, how to frame the entire thing in a way where you can proceed with this. So Ritaban says it's 0 followed by a question mark. Let me see some more answers, then we'll proceed. Okay, okay, Yash also says it's 0. All right, so you people just keep on calculating. Okay, and we'll just see how we can approach this sum. And as you get the answers, please let me know in the chat box. So these are the two probable options. All right. So he's going to win rupees 100 provided he gets a 5 or a 6. Okay. So this is pretty simple. So this is the probability of success. All right. So either he's getting a 5 or 6. Otherwise, he is actually going to fail and lose rupees 50. Okay. So let's just see. So this is what we are considering. Okay. So these are the possible things we have considered here. So just try and understand this one. So he's going to get maximum 3 throws. Okay. This is what we are doing here. So he's going to continue this experiment until he's getting a 5 or a 6, which is actually the success, or maximum up to third attempt. So we are making all the possible cases here. Okay. So this is the first case we have made. So the first throw that he has is either 5 or 6, and the experiment stops there. So obviously, this is the probability because this is the success, and obviously, he's going to get rupees 100. Now, what is the second option? Success in second attempt. So this first attempt fails, and the second attempt is a success. So if the first attempt fails, he's going to actually be getting minus 50, along with, for the second attempt, which is a success, he's going to get plus 100. So the ultimate thing is 50. All right. So success in third attempt. So failure, then success. Because obviously, if it's not a success, anyway, he's going to stop after 3 attempts. So for the first one, you get this minus 50. For the second one, you get minus 50. For the third one, you get plus 100. So this is going to be 0. All right. Now here, all the attempts are failed. So for all of them, he'll get minus 50, which just adds up to minus 150. Now, expectation is nothing but you basically just take the product and sum it up. I hope this is okay with all of you. So maximum 3 throws, he's getting maximum 3 throws, or otherwise, if he just has success, then he just stops there. So these are the probable options. You just take the probabilities and loss or gain that he's having there and just find out the expected gain or loss. So this is one type of sum where you're supposed to find out the expectation of certain things. This is one of the types that is covered in the question paper. Okay, so make sure you understand this. So the correct option, as pointed out by you people, is 2, which is actually 0. So I hope this is okay with all of you. If you still have any doubts, please let me know, because this is one type which is thoroughly covered in all in different papers. Okay, so let's just do the next one, which is pretty easy. Basics of set theory and definition of probability that we normally use. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of answers. So it's pretty easy. So if people keep on calculating, this is one answer which I expect from literally everyone. This is very basic, set theory and Venn diagram, whatever you use, and just basic cardinalities and just definition of axiomatic definition of probability. That's it. Okay. So I think people should be okay with this one. Now this is a gift considering the type of types of different sums that you normally get in the exams. This is one question where you're not supposed to leave those 4 marks. Very simple. These are the basic cardinalities of the sets that we have considered here. I think someone's audio is on. Okay. All right. So this is what we are going to get. So these are the number of students who have at least opted for NCC or NSS. So this is the probability that we will have. Otherwise, if you're just trying to find out the number of students who have opted for none of them, that's going to be 10, which will going to give you which is going to give you this 1/6 as the ultimate answer. This is something that all of you have got correctly. So the correct option is 1. So I think I'll just move on to the next sum then. Great. Just try this one and let me know. This is pretty basic as this will just use the definition of conditional probability that you will have. I'll just try this one out and let me know. Okay, I already have the answer from Ritoban. He says it's option 4. Okay. A is a subset of B. A is a subset of B. Okay, I get a lot of answers saying it's option 4. All right. Okay, I think I'll just reveal the answer. So this is the first observation we have. Since A is a subset of B, this is going to happen. So this is going to happen. And I don't know how you people got the fourth option. So yeah, finally I have an answer which is not 4. So yes, I see a lot of options saying option 4. So I'm just gonna, hold on to the solution at this point and just kind of you people participate. And I hope you understand what's going on. Okay, I hope it's okay up to this portion. Now you cannot simply just write 1. Now this is very, very important. This PB is nothing but it's the probability, so it cannot exceed 1. So obviously this is going to be greater than or equals to PA. This denominator is either 1 or a proper fraction. So obviously this is going to be greater than 1. So this is going to be, sorry, greater than PA or equal if PB is 1. So if you people have any doubts, please let me know. Okay, I have just one thing to tell you people. As you are saying that A and B, this intersection is happening. So if B is happening, A is supposed to happen, etc. So let me just simply give you a clue. Okay, I hope you people understand that, okay, maybe you people are having doubts that this is the intersection. So if B is happening, the subset is definitely going to happen. The point is, suppose you're just throwing a die, okay? So what happens is, I'm just saying that B is nothing but something, up to five. So one, two, three, four, five. Okay. So suppose you just in a single throw, if you get four, now I just kind of define A as something you are getting up to three. So obviously 1, 2, 3 is a subset of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So if 4 is the one that I get for this particular throw, B is happening, but A doesn't happen. Okay. Just because A is a subset of B doesn't mean that if B is happening, A is definitely going to happen. I hope this example kind of cleared out your doubts and whatever you people were thinking. I think this is one tricky question, not very difficult, because this is the most basic thing that you do for probabilities. Maybe in class 9, forget about conditional probabilities, etc. This is very basic. I hope this is okay with all of you. Still, if you have any problem, so let me know. So finally, after a lot of fours, etc., I think I just got one answer from Yash, who says it's option two, which is absolutely correct. Otherwise, I hope you people understand where you made the mistake. Okay, shall I think we just move on? Okay. I think someone raised a hand. If you have any problems, you can use the chat box and let me know. Okay, in case you want me to repeat anything. Rimi, I have seen that you have raised your hand. So, in case you have any problems, you can let me know. Okay. All right. Let's just go to the next problem then. Now, I think this is something we are going to skip because this is one type that we have explored already, and we are going to explore in a couple of sums more. So, the minimum number of time one has to toss a fair coin so that the probability of observing at least one head, this is important, at least one head is 90%, is at least 90%, sorry. So I'm just going to skip this one. I'm sure you people can figure this one out. And this is one very similar. I already have an answer. Okay, great. So head and tail, both of them have probabilities half. And also, this is something you have been given. Now, at least one means 1 minus t of x equals to 0. And from there, you can just simply find out the minimum value of n that you should have. This is one type you should be very comfortable with because this is literally everywhere. Okay. I'm sure you people have figured it out. And we have explained this, kind of elaborately in in question number 4. So just get comfortable with this type of sums because it's literally everywhere. Okay, I think we are okay with this one. So we'll move on. Still, if you have a problem, you can always let me know using the chat box. So I just don't wanna, waste much time in the types of sums which we have already covered. So I think we'll just move on then. All right. Again, very basic. I think 9 10 का sum है ये बहुत ही मतलब खराब type का. This is absolutely basics of probability. I'm sure by the time I'll just complete kind of reading out the question, you finish solving this one. It's not very difficult at all. Just let me know the answers. Pretty simple. We really don't want to waste time here so that we can actually see some good problems later on. Again, very simple logic. The target would be hit. So at least one of them hits the target. So you know what happens when at least one of them hits the target? It's like 1 minus none of them is going to hit the target, etc. So it's pretty simple. Just walk this one out and let me know the answer, okay? Okay, Mahek says it's option 4. It's supposed to be the last one. It's like the last one. Okay. Yash says it's option 4. Great. All right. I don't think this should take much time though. This is pretty simple. This is one question you people should answer correctly because these are the kind of 4 marks you should never, let go of. It's very easy and uses some basic logics of probability. Okay. I think I'm gonna. Okay, I understand, Meg. I just read it wrong. Okay, it was the previous one. I've got your new answer. Yeah, chalo. Let's just see. This is something that we are going to do. So the first line is pretty important. So, okay, the target would be hit. So at least one of them hits the target. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. This is nothing but 1 minus none of them will hit the target. Now, for that, we individually have the probabilities that they hit the target. So, for the complementary event, we know how to find out the probability, then just simple calculations, and you're going to get 25 by 32, which is option 4, as correctly pointed out by you people. So, great. I think we'll move on to the next sum then. I hope this is okay. If you still have any doubts, because it's pretty basic, still, if you have any doubts, you can let me know. The correct option is 4, which is 25 by 32. I think we'll just see the next sum then. Okay. Now just see the important things. Okay. So what are the given conditions? What is the conditional probability that you're going to find out, etc. Try and work this one out. So as you people keep on calculating, I think I'm just going to reveal a part of the solution because these kind of cases can be a little, confusing. Okay. So that's the word I'm going to pick out. So try and make the cases properly so that you can proceed. So I already have an answer. Okay. And some great comments in the comment box. So yeah, go ahead and read this one. As I said, that you might have confusion. So these are the kind of confusions I'm referring to. Okay, so just whenever you read a lot of text, going on, you see this kind of things going on. Okay, just go ahead and figure out the important parts. Okay, I'm getting a couple of answers saying it's option one. Great. I think I'm going to reveal a part of the solution, and as you guys keep on getting the answers, please let me know in the comments box. Okay. And even if you don't know which option it was, you can simply write down the answer after you're done with your calculation. All right. Okay. So what you are going to find out is what is the probability, that conditional probability, that all the children are girls, given that at least 2 girls are there. Okay. So this is what you are going to find out. All right. So that is why we have let A as the event where at least 2 girls are there, and B as the event where there are all girls. Okay. So this is what we are going to note. This is something you're supposed to find out, as I have told you. The basic definition. Now, this is very important. As you understand, this is actually a subset of this. Sorry, this is actually a subset of this one. Okay, I hope this is okay with all of you, because if you have at least two girls, you can make different cases. Okay, so this will be one of those cases. So obviously this is what we are going to observe. Is this okay with all of you? So now if I can find out PB and PA, we are done with this. So this is what we have done. All girls, as you know, it's equally likely. So half and half hoga wahan pe. So all of them are girls. For four of them, obviously half into half, four times. So this is going to happen. Okay. So this is like at least two girls. So what we have done here is 1 minus no girl child and one girl child. I hope this is okay with all of you. So this is PB where all of them are girls. So the first one is like half and the second one is like half, etc. So four times. Okay. And here you have the total probability minus the probability where you have 0 girls and 1 girl. I hope this is okay with all of you. And we have used the very basic principles that we use for Bernoulli trial. So if this is okay with all of you, just write yes so that I can move on. Otherwise, I'll just wait and explain this one. Okay. If you have any problems in this one, let me know. Or if you have understood it properly, you can also let me know that, because these kind of conditions can be a little confusing. Okay, I hope this is okay with all of you. All right, I think. Okay, Abrodip, I'll just explain once more. Okay, Yash, okay, I'll just explain the denominator. Sure. So what we have done here is you're supposed to find out the probability that at least two of them are girls, given, you know, sorry, at least two of them are girls, given, sorry, this is what we are going to suppose, we are going to find out. Okay, the probability of all girls given at least two of them are girls. So this is what we are going to find out. So what I have used is the very basic definition. Now as you understand that this is actually a subset of this one, so that is what we have used just for a couple of sums. Before we have used this trick as well. So if I have all girls here and at least two girls, so this will be a subset of A. So this is what we have. Now PB. What is PB? All of them are girls. So since having girls and boys are equally likely, so this is the probability that you will have a girl for a particular child, and this is for a boy. So if you have four girls here, so the probability, the numerator will be actually 1 by 2 into 1 by 2. This is going to happen like four times. I hope this is okay. I hope the numerator is okay. So all of them are girls. So four times you'll have half. Now, if you look at the denominator, this is something that you might have a problem with. Now, for the denominator, we are going to use the very basic of Bernoulli's trial. Okay. So suppose this is the success that we are considering, number of girls. So this is a success that you will have a girl for that particular child, and this is a failure. So at least two girls. What does it mean? It means that 1 minus number of girls is 0 and number of girls is 1. So these are the two cases that we have kind of omitted from the entire probability. So number of 0 successes, you know how to find this one out, and number of 1 success. So I hope this is okay with all of you. Pradeep, I hope this is okay. Otherwise, if you have doubts, you can let me know. Okay. So is this okay with you? So just let me know in the comment box so that I can proceed. Great. So the correct option is 1. All right. This is again a question that I think you people are just going to find out. So I'm not going to waste time here. So quickly tell me the answer. And as I was saying, that this is one type which is literally there everywhere. So make sure you are okay with the calculations and you know how to proceed. Okay. Just see. Okay, Rita one says it's 7. Great. Which is option 4. All right, let me see some more answers, and I think I'll just move on because this is one very common type of problem, and I'm sure. So there are certain problems which should not be, causing any problems. So you're definitely gonna fetch 4 marks there. This is one such type, and it's literally everywhere. Great. A very simple procedure. This is something I've just written it directly because you know how to manage these things. Okay. So basically you are going to get at least one head. So that can be considered as a success, and the rest will be failure, which is nothing but half. Again, the probability is half again. So at least one head means 1 minus no heads at all. So just simply solve for n, and the least value of n you will get is 7. I'm sure you're going to find this one out. And this is one type which is literally everywhere. So yeah, the correct option is 4. Just quickly move on to the next sum. Now this is one good sum. Just try and do this one. Absolutely basic geometry of polygons. Not so basic, but it's not very difficult. You can see the if you can see the symmetry or the pattern. Okay. Just try this one out, and yeah, let me know the answers. But if you're stuck, we'll obviously talk about the logic here. So I think I already have quite a few answers. Okay. There's a confusion between 1 and 2. All right. Just see. Let's just see a couple of more answers and we'll just probably, okay. Okay. All right. So people are changing to option 1. Great. So let's just see the very basic geometry of polygon that we normally do here. So this is what we are going to take here. Okay, so this is basically a regular hexagon. So first of all, we are supposed to find out the probability that the triangle formed with these chosen vertices is equilateral. Okay, so basically what we are going to do is just choose 3 vertices, make a triangle. Okay, and that triangle have to be equilateral. That's the thing, that's the probability we're supposed to find out. So first of all, let's just try and form the denominator. So this is the number of all possible triangles. You know how to find this one out. So this is the possible number of triangles. Now we are supposed to find out the number of favorable cases, and for that what we need to do is to trace out the equilateral triangles. As you see, there are 2 equilateral triangles here, AEC and BDF. So obviously, just using the basic axiomatic definition of probability, you're going to get the answer. Okay, so the correct option is 1, as pointed out by most of you. So I hope this is okay with you. Otherwise, you can let me know if you have any doubts regarding this one, be it the logic or calculation. That there's nothing much, calculation and all. So I hope this is okay. So I think we'll move on to the next sum then. Great. Basically, what you have is a random variable x. So you have the mean and variance, and also an additional information, and you're supposed to find out the value of k. Okay. First of all, just make sure you remember the formulas for mean and variance. And also, this is specified that this is a binomial distribution, and that's why we can write the formulas for mean and variance here. So you can just try and find out the parameters that you will have for the particular distribution and try and find out the value of k. Okay. I think we already have an answer. Yash says it's 137, which is option 4. Great. So this is not very difficult logically. So just take your time and do the calculations properly. Okay. I'm sure the result will come out. Just steady with your calculation. That's it. Okay. Ishika also says it's option 4. Okay. Getting all the answers as option 4. Great. So it's pretty easy. Just be careful about the calculation. Okay. I think we will just move on to the solution, and you people keep on calculating. And as you get the answers, let me know in the comment box. So these are the given informations that we have. Obviously, we have used the basic knowledge of mean and variance here. From there, we can find out the value of q. This is a classic procedure that we follow for just finding out the parameters of a binomial distribution. So consequently, we can find out q because the total probability is going to be 1. And using any of these two, we can find out the value of n. So these are the parameters that we are going to need for our binomial distribution. Once we are done with that, let's just explore the given condition. Okay. What is capital X, which is the random variable, the value being less than or equals to 2. So what are the possible cases here? 0, 1, and 2. So for these things individually, we have taken this is nothing but px equals to 0, px equals to 1, and px equals to 2. So if we just go for that, success or failure thing, to know what is the probability of exactly our successes. So that is something we are going to use. And I just told you to be a little steady with the calculations, and I think that's it. So this 2 to the power 16 is getting cancelled from both the sides. Rest is pretty simple. You just work out what these things will be and some basic addition. I hope this is okay with all of you. Now, this is something that you should be very, very familiar with, a classic procedure of just getting the parameters of a binomial distribution. Okay. So the correct option is 4. So let's just move on to the next one. Question 17. Just try this one out and let me know. Okay. Again, a very classic Bernoulli trial. Just frame the question differently and try and solve this one out. Okay, I've already got one answer from Deboshmita. It's option 3. All right, let me see some more answers so that we can move on to the solution. Okay. Again, this is pretty easy. Absolute basics of binomial theorem and Bernoulli's trial just be stated with your calculation. So these are the kind of sums where you're not supposed to miss out on those 4 marks. Just be steady with your calculation. Simple. Okay. Aditya also says it's option 3. Okay. Okay. Yashika also says it's option 3. All right, I'm getting a lot of answers saying it's option 3, which is great. Okay. So again, this is pretty simple. Let's just quickly reframe this one. Okay. So P is the probability that the candidate can solve a problem, and Q is the probability that, you know, he or she cannot solve the problem. This is something that we can clearly find out. All right. Because this is given, this P is given. So consequently, you can find out Q. Okay. So what you're supposed to find out is the probability that the person is unable to solve less than 2 problems. Okay. So less than 2 problems means 0 problems, one, etc. So if he is unable to solve 0 problems, it means that he's solving 50 problems. Also, if he is unable to solve 1 problem, he is supposed to solve 49 problems. So if this is a success and this is a failure, so this is what you're going to get from the binomial theorem. Okay. Then some simple calculations because you already know what P and Q are, and you just get your answer. So is this okay with all of you? It's just how you just rephrase the entire thing and use basics of binomial theorem. Okay. I hope this is okay with all of you. Still, if you have doubts, please let me know. So we have just written the sum a little differently. This is actually the success and the failure. So he is unable to solve less than 2 problems. So unable to solve 0 problems and one. So obviously all 50 are solved and 49 are solved. Okay. So the correct option as pointed out by you people, it's 3. So I think we'll just move on to the next one then. Okay. In the meantime, if you still have any doubts, you can always use the chat option and clarify that. Okay, as I have already told you this one, this is again a sum of expectation. we have actually done a similar sum here. So the logic is pretty simple, and you know how to find this one out. Okay, just be steady with the calculation. Okay, I think I've already got an answer. Let's just see some more answers so that we can proceed. Because it's pretty simple. Mehak says it's option 3. All right. Great. I'm sure you people are, familiar with the procedure. We have done these kind of sums before. So just be patient with your calculation because the logic is not very difficult. So let's just see. I'll reveal a part of the solution, okay? But as you people keep on getting the answer, please let me know. Okay, so you're supposed to find out the random variable and its probability, the number you are assigning to the random variable and its probability. Then you just take the product and do the summation. Okay. So you total have, there are two fair dice. So obviously you have 36 possible cases, which will actually make up for the denominator of all the probabilities that we are finding out here. So first of all, there's a chance that he wins rupees 15 when there's a doublet. So what are the possible cases? Obviously 1, 1, 2, 2, etc. So there are 6 possible cases where he can win rupees 15 by getting a doublet. Okay. So this is basically the probability that x is equals to 15. And okay, so he wins rupees 12 when the throw results in the sum of 9. So another possible value of this particular random variable that we have considered is 12, provided there's a sum of 9. So you people can go ahead and find out what will be the possible throws to give you a sum of 9. So as you can see, there are 4 possible options, okay? A combination of 6, 3 and 4, 5, etc. So this is the corresponding probability. So what are the remaining cases? So I have taken 6 cases here where he is going to win and 4 cases here where he is going to win. This is the first one is rupees 15 and the second one is rupees 12. Otherwise, he is going to lose out on the entire thing. So these are the possible cases where he is going to lose rupees 6. Okay. So this is something we have to find out the probability. So this is basically the possible values of x and their probabilities. So what you're going to do is to just simply take the product and sum it up. Okay. So the answer is going to be minus half. So half loss, which is actually option 3, is going to actually lose rupees half. So this is minus half. So I hope you understand what this negative sign is standing for. I hope this is okay with all of you. If you still have any doubts, please let me know. This is one type of sum which is literally common because most of the times you're supposed to find out expectations, and also you have these kind of cases where a person just wins a certain amount for these kind of outcomes, and for the rest he's going to lose this. So just get comfortable with these type of sums, because this is pretty obvious that this is going to be, most likely to be in your paper. So I think we'll just move on then. For the next one also, we have a similar type of a sum. So if you people just try this one out, otherwise we'll see how the solution goes. The formulation of the question is a little confusing. If you don't understand it, you can let me know. Otherwise, if this is okay with you, just proceed and see what the answer will be. Okay. So these are the total number of rows, the random variable. Obviously, you know that for expectation, you're supposed to find out the value of the random variable as well as the corresponding probability. Okay. So if 3, 4, or 5 time head occurs consecutively, then we assign the value of x as 3, 4, or 5. Okay. Otherwise, it's going to be -1. So you know how the possible combinations you can get for 5 times you throw an unbiased coin. So if you have 3 consecutive heads, the value of the random variable is going to be 3. If you have 4 consecutive heads, it's going to be 4, etc. Otherwise, this is going to be -1. So you have to find out the value of the expectation. So you have the value of the random variable. Just find out the corresponding probabilities, take the product, and summation. Okay, the logic, as in the procedure we are going to follow, is pretty similar to the previous one. Just be steady with your calculations. Okay. I already have an answer from Aditya. Aditya says it's option one. All right. So hope the other people also keep on calculating, and let me know once you get the answer. Okay. All right, I think I'll just reveal a part of the solution and you people keep on calculating and let me know as you get the answers. Okay. The procedure is absolutely similar. First, of 3 consecutive heads, the value of the random variable that you have been provided with is going to be 3. So what are the possible options? You will get 5 favorable cases. So these are the favorable cases. So this is something you can clearly find out what can be the favorable cases when you have 3 consecutive heads. So similarly, you can see this is going to be the probability. Okay. And as you understand, for the base, every time you have 2 possible options, either head or tail. So the denominator is going to be 2 to the power 5, which is 32. Similarly, when the value assigned is 4, you can find out the favorable cases and the corresponding probability, and also x equals to 5, which is just only one option, all of them are heads. Simple. Now you don't have to calculate the different things when there are like two consecutive heads or one, etc. All the other things are going to assign -1 to the random variable. So you have this 5, 4 and 2 cases. Otherwise, whatever is left out will be actually the probability that px equals to -1. Okay. What you're going to do is simply take the product and summation, which will give you the answer 1 by 8. Just find out the expectation. I hope this is okay with all of you. Otherwise, if you have a problem, just let me know, because the procedure is pretty simple. So what are the possible random variable values that you have? Three consecutive heads. So this is going to happen. You find out the probability. Similarly, for 4, you have the probability, and for 5, you have the probability. I hope this is okay with all of you. So if you have any doubts, you can let me know in the chat box. Otherwise, I think we'll proceed, okay? So the correct option is 1, which is 1 by 8. So this is one type of sum which is literally, coming a lot. So I hope you understand. Please explain x equals to -1. Auditro, the point is, if you're assigning the variable the values that you're supposed to, if you have 3 consecutive heads, you are supposed to give the value as 3. As 4, you will get x equals to 4, etc. So if you have any other cases, obviously you have 32 possible options, okay, which is forming the denominator. Now you have 5 cases, okay, and so that's how you just get this 24, like the different options that you are having here, okay. So here you have 5 cases, here you are having 2 cases, and here you just have 1 case, okay. So these are the possible options where this 3, 4 and 5 is getting assigned. So if you just eliminate these 8 options, out of 32, this 8 is eliminated. So there are 24 where you are going to assign x as -1. I hope you understand this, if this is all right with you. Okay. So you don't have to go for different cases where there are like two, consecutive heads, or one consecutive head, or no consecutive head, etc. Because you don't need them. For rest of the cases, x will be equals to -1. So you can clearly calculate this one. I hope this is okay with all of you. The correct option is 1. So let's just go to the next sum then. I think again this is very easy, and I'm sure you people can figure it out. Very easy example of Bernoulli's trial, etc. Just need to reframe the question, and I think we'll be done. Okay. Try this one out. At most 2 machines. Okay. So I hope you understand what that means. So it's pretty simple. This is one type which is literally present everywhere. So these are the types of statements you should understand. Try this one out and let me know. Ashika says it's option 3. Let's just see some more answers. It's very easy. Just be steady with your calculation. That's it. Aditya says it's 17 by 8, which is option 3 as well. Okay, great. I think people keep on calculating. This is one type that we have already explored, the basics of binomials and Bernoulli trials, etc. So this is the required probability. At most, 2 means 0, 1, and 2. Okay. So you already know the probability that it's going to be faulted is 1 by 4. So very basic, exactly like R successes. So it just depends on which you are saying as success or failure. That's it. So simple calculation. We just equate that to 3 by 4 whole cube into k and get the value of k. Okay. Hope this is okay with all of you. So the correct option, as you figured out, is 3. So still, if you have any problems, you can let me know because this is pretty simple. So I think we can move on to the next one then. The correct option is 3, which is 17 by 8. Just do your calculations rightly. That's it. If you have explored this type, just be steady with the calculations and I think you'll be true. Okay. So next one is pretty basic and just try and kind of save some time in these kind of questions because these are very basic and intuitive. Just try this one out and let me know. Okay. Okay, I'm getting some answers saying it's 2 and 3. Okay, let's see. First of all, I think I'm just going to mark one word which is very, very important. So obviously you understand that for every, for all the possible options, you're finding out the probability of A, right? The probability of A given B has occurred, or complement of B has occurred, etc. So anyway, if A is independent, the fact that B is happening or not happening is not going to affect it at all. So the probability is going to stay the same. So this is very basic logic that we have used here. So the correct option, as pointed out by you people, it's 2. So it doesn't, require any sort of calculation, just basic knowledge of independent events. So if two events are independent, the probability of one will not be hampered by the probability of occurrence of the other. The basic thing, absolutely, you can score 4 marks here. Absolute logic, which is absolutely basic. So let's just move on to the second, the next one then. Okay. The correct option is 2. All right. Now, this is very important. Exactly one. These are the kind of phrases you should be absolutely careful about. Exactly one is 2 by 5. You have another information and you're supposed to get the probability of A intersection B. Again, not very difficult with calculations, just basic logic. Try this one out. You already know how these intersection and union things work. You already have some working knowledge from set theory as well. Just try this one out. Mehak says it's option 1. Okay, let's just see some more answers then. Okay, Ishika says it's option 1. Great. Okay. See a couple of more answers, then probably we'll just move on to the solution and see. Just use the very basics of Venn diagram and union, intersection, or all these things that you know. I will just talk about the solution then, okay? Okay, just let me know the answer as you keep on getting them. And I think I'll just reveal a part of the solution so that you know you're on the right track, or if you're stuck. Also, I'm getting some answers. Again, people are saying it's option one. Okay, great. So this is very important. Exactly one. Okay. So this is 2 by 5. So just see what we have done here. Okay. Suppose you just consider two sets. So exactly one means either this portion or this portion. Okay. So whatever you have as union, so for union, you just have this portion. Okay. This PA plus PB minus this. But here we are also eliminating this intersection part. So this is one of the equations that you have. And along with that, also you have the probability of the union. And you just simply subtract one from the other to get the value of probability A intersection B. I hope this is okay with all of you. So the only thing that you need to take care of is this particular term that we are using here, exactly one. So this is just not going to be this one which is there for union. Along with that, again, we are getting rid of the common portion. I hope this is okay with all of you. The correct option is one, as you people have already pointed out. So let's just move on to the next question then. We have two more questions to go, and then we'll be done with probability. Okay. So let's just do these things quickly so that we can wrap up this chapter. Not very difficult. Just consider the different cases that we can have and then find out the respective probabilities and add. Okay, just one thing I want you people to understand. Whenever we say that something is getting picked up randomly from a particular set or a bag of certain cards or a deck of cards or certain, number of balls that you have, etc. Normally, unless otherwise mentioned, we just say that it's without replacement. But for this one, you have this particular condition given. So these are the kind of details you should not miss out on. Okay. I hope this is okay with you. So let's just see. I've already got my answer from Aditya. Aditya says it's option two. Okay, let's just see some more answers so that we can move on to the solution. Ishika also says it's option two. Great. Okay. So I'm getting all the answers as two. All right. So if you people get the same answer, kind of ensures that okay, maybe something is in the right track. Otherwise, that probability thing is going to happen, the conditional probability, where you people made the same mistake. So either it's very easy or you learn something very basic which didn't cross your mind, obviously. Okay, so let's just see a part of the solution, which is the first step. It's very funny. So these are the possible options, okay? So what happens is you just get the second A before the third B. So obviously in these kind of cases, as I told you, the basic thing is to find out all the possible, all the possible trails of the cards. Okay, so in the first one, as you get that in the first two picks, you have already got a couple of A's, so you don't have worry about B. So then you get the first A followed by a B and A, etc. So these are the possible options that you can have. So I hope you understand these things clearly. So don't miss out on any one of them. It's going to hamper the final answer. And this is pretty simple because all of the probabilities are going to be half. You have 20 cards, 10 named A and 10 named B. And fortunately for you people, like with replacement, so this probability is not going to get changed. So very basic calculation, and I hope this is okay with all of you. One thing you need to do is to just stay focused with the probable options that a couple of A's are coming before B. Okay, I hope this is okay with all of you. So the correct option is 2. Okay, so the last sum, just one thing that you people need to understand, one classic trick that we use here, the very general procedure, the very well known procedure that all the probabilities will add up to 1. So use this one out and just simply find out what's going to be px greater than 2. Okay, strictly greater. So I hope you know which are one you're supposed to add. Just try and work this one out. This is the last sum we have on probability. So let's just see. So Ishika says it's option 4. All right, Ishika, let's just see some other answers. Okay, okay, Debashmita says it's option 4. Great. People just keep on calculating. Very basic. All the probabilities will add up to 1. Find out the value of k and consequently the required probability. Okay. It's pretty simple. You people just keep on calculating and just give me the answer in the chat box. All right. I think we are going to start with the most basic logic. Then all the probabilities have been provided with here. They're going to add up to 1. From there, you are supposed to find out the value of k. And as you know, that k cannot be negative. So obviously, we are going to keep the non-negative value here. And this is what you have, k. So x greater than 2. Mehak, the options are 7 by 12, 1 by 36, 1 by 6, and 23 by 36. Okay. So just put the value of k. So as you understand, for this one, you need k. Okay. So that is why you use this very basic knowledge that we all possess about probabilities. Just do the calculation and find out. I hope this is okay with all of you. Okay. So the correct option, as pointed out by you people, it's 4. So great. So this is the last question we had for probability. So I hope you actually understand what are the types, what are the concepts that you need to basically cover. Like primarily, of course, you need to, it's better that you cover everything. But what are the primary things which are very repetitive? You've seen the types of sums which are literally there in different papers. First of all, the basic Bernoulli trials and binomial expansions that you have seen, and also different number of permutations and combination, use of p and c in finding out different types of probabilities, that is very essential. Some basics of conditional probability, expectations, these are the things that you have seen here coming out repetitively. So go ahead and just brush up these things, and if you have any doubts, so always welcome to just post it out on our discussion forum. So this is the end of probability.